Ok, buenos días. Continuamos en la semana número 5. Y hoy vamos a aprender acerca del pretérito y el imperfecto together. Ok, so by now we know how to do pretérito, how to conjugate pretérito, what's the rule about pretérito, how to conjugate imperfecto, what's the rule for imperfecto. Now we're going to combine those two because when we talk in Spanish, we do combine those two past tense. Okay, so I have this handout for you. And also I have this one as well, okay? So here you're going to see all the rules. And also, yes, pretérito and imperfecto. So we're going to review pretérito. Remember pretérito, you're going to use pretérito when you are talking about action that was completed in the past and it happened only one time. And also when you disrupting an action that is going on, you have to use pretérito. Okay? For example, I was sleeping. I cannot see. Okay, I was sleeping. Espérate. Okay. When my mother called me. Okay, so this action, I was sleeping, it was in progress, and then my mother called me, she directed me, so that call, llamar, should be in pretérito. Okay, also you're going to use pretérito when you see the beginning or the end of an event. Okay, like right here, la película empezó a las 3 de la tarde. So I see the movie start 3 o'clock. All right, this is not telling me the time. It's just the beginning of the event and the end of the event. Okay. Terminé el proyecto a la medianoche. I finished my project midnight. It's not telling me the time. It's just when. Also, you're going to use pretérito when you see a specific, when something starts in a specific time or specific year, right? Like yo trabajé allí en 1980. I worked there in 1980. And also you're going to talk about location of event. When an event, where was an event? In a church, in a hotel, in a room, right? Talking about events. Events you cannot touch it because we're going to talk about objects that you can touch it. Objects that you can touch it, where they are located in the past, it's imperfecto. But when you are talking about events, the location of event have to be pretérito. Remember, past, in the past. Okay, and again, talk about complete action, and this is all the key words. Okay, we talk about that too. And then imperfecto, right? It's when you're describing an action that was in progress in the past, which in English is were plus ing or was plus ing, okay? And also when you're talking about things that you were doing in the past more than one time. And describe a condition when, somebody was sad, somebody was happy, I was depressed, so you have to use imperfecto, okay? And then when you talk about age, attitude, appearance, you in the past, you have to use imperfecto. Location, again, be careful because when you're describing a location of, you're talking about location of an event, it's pretérito. But when you are talking about location of items, objects that you can touch, people, you have to use imperfecto, okay? Las chicas estaban en el carro. The girls were in the car. Also, when you talk about weather, you have to use imperfecto. When you have to talk about time in the past, you have to use imperfecto. And be careful with this example right here and this one right here. Here, you're not telling the time. You're just saying what time the meeting start. But here, you do talking about the time in the past, okay? Eran las 4 y todos teníamos mucha hambre. It was 4 o'clock and we all were hungry. Okay? So it was it was. It's not the same when you say the meeting start at. At, it was, there are two different things. When you say at, you're not telling me the time. When you say it was, you telling me the time. It is, you telling me the time. At, you're not. Okay, so be careful, be careful. Now, what's the key word? Todos los días, en siempre. There are many, but this is the most common one. Todos los días, en siempre. Okay. All right. So remember, when we are talking about things that we used to do, that's another rule for imperfecto. You have to use imperfecto. For example, I used to go to Miami every weekend. So, yo, okay, you have to use ir, to go. Ir, to go, how you conjugate ir. In pretérito, remember you should have that conjugation. What is the paper? Well, you have the hands out, right? You should know how to conjugate ir in imperfecto, so that will be yo iba, right? Yo iba where? Yo iba a Miami todos los sábados. Okay, this is something that I used to do, so I have to use ir imperfecto. Okay, so when we are talking about, let's see, let me give you another example. So I went to Miami. The action was completed, right? And it happened only one time, so I have to use, what I have to use? Pretérito, correcto. So, yo, how you conjugate ir en pretérito? Fui a Miami. Well, you gotta be specific here. When? Anoche, ayer, yesterday, okay? Now, you do have to use your handout where you have all your conjugation, all right? You have to print. I recommend you to print every single handout or have them on hand, because we definitely always have to review, or you're going to be using grammar and vocabulary that you have learned in the past, in the present. Okay, so right now, for the homework you're going to be doing for this chapter, you need to know how to conjugate en pretérito and imperfecto, and I have provided you the handout with those conjugation. Okay, so what I need you to do is do your homework, okay, and take all the assessment you need to take for this week if we're done. All right, so if you have any question, you're welcome to email me and ask me for an appointment, and I will be more than happy to help you. All right, adiós, hasta mañana.